Alright, so the lads are just finishing up here. There are about 4 acres left to bring in, I'd say, so 10:15 in the morning. A lovely early start of the morning, a lot of work done already, but it's nice to get it in and we can root at it during the day. It's given 27 degrees today, so we'll take our time. I'm going to go around the fields, check everything, close all these gates, and I'm going to let our heifers into this big hill here and let them eat around the sides of it now that I'm here. Alright, so just in here, call these heifers over. They see me anyway, they don't be too long coming. Come on! Come on! So there's plenty of grass around the cottage, around the hedges here. This will keep them going for a few days. This is a fairly big field. There's even small bits of grass laying on top of the ground here and there, like here for instance, just small little areas like that. And they'll come along and they'll eat all of that off the ground, clean it all up. Come on. Shh. One. There you go. I have a few buckets of garlic knocked around this field here and there. There's one over there as well, I think. I'll collect them in the quad later on this evening and I'll throw that up with them. So if you're not from the farming background and you're wondering what the garlic is for, put it this way. If you're out on a first date, would you eat garlic? Well, if you do, well, the flies will think exactly of the heifers as your partner you're meeting probably thinks of you. Well, about a week has passed now. You might hear the milking machine going in the background. Nicole is just starting milking here. I'm going down to join her now in a few minutes. But that is our second cut in. We didn't video the covering of it because it's exactly the same as what we done the last time. But we ended up with a fair pit. Not a big pit, not a small pit, a fair pit. That's, I suppose, the best way to put it. I would have liked to seen it up on the rails, about halfway on the rails. Would have loved to seen it at the top of the rails. On a normal year, a first cut would fill it that much. When you put 2 cuts, the same amount of grass in twice, and only get what you get in 1 cut normally, maybe a little better than 1 cut, it goes to show how bad the first cut was. At the back here we hung our bags the whole way along, so it's got plenty of weight along the back of it. There's a track underneath here, and we put 2 pipes in there on that track and that levels it, and then the covers come across that so all the rainwater can run away, but all the effluent comes down underneath the covers and goes into that track. There's a manhole over there then, and that's all piped over to the tank. I have a few bags left over there, some of them have holes in them, but there's a few of them that are okay. So we're going to add them to the pit now in the next few days and just put as much weight on it as possible. We might as well use them when they're there. Another thing we add here is a white tape, which is electrified, and that just stops cows from sticking the big long noses in, catching the bags and pulling them off the wall, because that's exactly what they do. So that wee tape there just keeps them away from that. Sophia's just coming back from moving the fence here. So normally every other year my father would tell me to put up these 2. He'd always say, you put up them 2 tapes. This tape here, where Danielle's coming underneath now, wasn't put up when we were bringing in the cows. And the cows came down, and because this is kind of a flat surface, cows didn't know really the difference. And a couple of them did walk up the pit and did put holes in the covers a good few years ago. So after that, we always put 2 tapes across, a simple thing, and it just stops them from doing it. But I'd always forget. My father would always put it up, including the one we took down last year, he put that up. So this year I said, I'll not forget, and I'll put it up straight away and have it done. He'd be laughing now and shaking his head knowing that he finally got through to me. The way we look at the pit, we'll definitely be making a 3rd cut, not for pit silage, that's finished now, for bales. So we'll try to get as many bales as we can. So today is Wednesday the 16th of July, so that clip you seen of the silage was finished on Thursday, whatever date that was. On my 3rd day of slurrying here, and this is my 3rd and final day. Thank Christ, I don't enjoy this job anymore. I used to when I was younger, but I don't enjoy it anymore. Go back and forth across this road, when you do it quite a few times, your stomach and even your body feels like it's been through a washing machine. It's not so much the holes, it's the swaying back and forth. That there. I'd rather be outside doing something with my hands, working. That's when I'm at my happiness. I don't like sitting in the cab of a tractor. Another thing as well, which made my job longer, I'd normally have this done a day and a half. But I had to draw a sight of water. More water than I've ever had to draw before for some reason. The dung in the tanks this year are very, very dry. It's probably down, I'd say, to the dry cuts that we had last year. The dry matter was higher, meaning the cows, well, you can kind of work that out. You're probably having your coffee, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. So output way too thick to go through the dribble bar. The tank that I'm using here, it's a recess tank by the way, a 2,000 gallon. Now, I don't know what way the camera shows that, but there are humps and hollows in the field, and as you're crossing any kind of a hill, you have to be really careful because her centre of gravity is quite high. She dances an awful lot like this. Sometimes you nearly catch your breath because you feel like she's going to tip over. So I'm always wary where I go because it only takes one dip in the field at the right angle. She's actually worse when she's half empty. That was the last load. And it's mad when you have the drone up and you look straight down in the field. You don't actually think you're putting very much on, but when you look straight down on it, it looks like we're layering it on, and that's what I don't want. But when I come along here and have a look at it, we're not actually too bad at all. I'm going to finish off by doing one thing I have to do regular with this yoke. There is going to be some pressure in this, but hopefully not much. I have to empty this like regular. Yeah. I'll go back on the laneway because it is only gravel, so we're putting back what we're taking off. This rubber here used to be glued on. You can see that stuff there, but it didn't stay on for very long. I have to manoeuvre it round. It's a wee bit awkward just to get it right, stop it from leaking. Just to sort, I'll have to clean that down and find a better glue. Maybe it'll hold it for a bit longer. Right, that's hopefully all. Alright, so before this bike comes to work on this air conditioner, I was just looking at this and there must have been a wee eye leak or something just there at some stage. It's not leaking now, but you can see the way the fins is all completely blocked there on the top. Not so bad as you go down, but there is dirt in there, so there is. So before he comes, I think, I've never had it out before, I think this all pulls out. I'll have a wee look at it here and see can we get it out and just clean it. There is an eye leak there, you can see it on the other radiator. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from, or maybe it just was an old eye leak, but it's there. And then we look at this radiator here. Yeah, we could do it, maybe fixing that. There for now. Right, so the more I dig here, the dirtier that is. A lot of gunk built up on that on both sides, so there is. So it's time to clear that out. So I'm just going to use a simple degreaser here. Spray it on. Down here now in the yard, that is sitting under the loader, it's not going anywhere. So we're going to spray in some foam which has a degreaser in it as well, a soap for a minute or two, and then we're going to go very lightly with the pressure washer turned down low, and hopefully we'll get rid of a lot of this stuff. our tractor has been worked on. I was going to say fixed. It has been worked on. So our man came last night, late on after milking, and he tore into it. And quickly, he found the issue. So you'll see we have a shiny new compressor on there. We also have, I think this is a dryer, it's called. I thought it was a filter, but it's actually a dryer. Is that the right thing for it? There's a new one of them on too. Before telling you more, I'll just show you what was wrong. This is our old compressor here, and you can see a line. Do you see that line there? Well, that's not just a line, that's an open crack. That compressor obviously must have seized or something went wrong inside, and it split the housing open. So he says there's a heap of pistons in here, and maybe a conrod or something bent or broke or something, and it blew itself apart. And that's where the whole leaking was coming from there. That's the back side of the compressor. So instantly we needed a compressor. Now when I stripped this yoke down before that man came, the day before I knew he was coming, I decided I'd go up to a local garage and get a compressor for it, just to have it here. We didn't know if it needed one. It could have been only a leaking pipe. That's what I was hoping was the problem. But I said I'd get it, and I'd get this guy here as well, because I knew a lot of lads who change these. I've seen videos on YouTube where they normally change these when they're at it. But at least I just said to myself, I'll have them here, save him coming a second time. If it needed a compressor, he could just throw it on it here. And if I didn't need it, I can just bring it back. I just thought that'd make more sense. Which he was glad to see that I had a compressor got. Compressor was fitted. And regassed up, and there was no other issues or any leaks that could be seen, and the air condition was up and running in a very short time. He'd done a good tidy job and just knew his job and knew what he was at. I was come up here this morning with the idea of putting bonnets and stuff back on her to get finished up and get her back to work, but that wasn't the case. I started the tractor up and I could hear a squealing noise coming from the front of her with the air conditioning turned off. Come out and had a look, and it was coming from here where the clutch is. On the front of the compressor there's a magnetic clutch here, so every time you turn on your air conditioning, this clutch here will engage and the whole thing will turn. So basically what I'm telling you here is there's a shaft in here, make it simple, and this by here should turn freely when the air conditioning is turned off. The magnet will release. There's a little wire there which I presume does something towards that. So when it releases, the aircon goes off. You switch your aircon on, the clutch re-engages, and then this here will turn with the pulley, and that is what drives the compressor. You see that guy there? That guy shouldn't be turning when the air conditioning turned off at the minute, and that pulley should be turning nice and freely on its own. But as this yoke runs for a minute, it's hotter, that seems to start engaging more and more so. Now we turn the air conditioning on. You can see the clutch is engaged, and now the air conditioning is running as it should. So yesterday when we were working with this machine, we were working with the air conditioning on, and there wasn't any noise when it was turned on and off. But just bizarrely this morning, it done it as soon as it started up. But the issue then is running this tractor for just 1 minute, barely 1 minute, with the aircon off. The friction between this clutch plate and this pulley was creating a desperate amount of heat. This, you couldn't touch it with your hand after less than a minute. Rung the guy that done the work on. I took this dust cap off here to have a look inside to see if there's any dirt or something stuck on it. There's nothing I can see there. A long conversation with him on the phone, and we came to the conclusion that the compressor has a fault. So now I'm just after ringing the dealership to seek me source another compressor for it. It means that the whole thing has to be done again. The man has to come back out, regas it, and put a new compressor on. So we're not out of the woods on it. Disappointing, but these things happen. You can get parts that just doesn't work, and it's nobody's fault but the person that made this. It's their fault. We blame them. Nobody can know that these things would be faulty, and when he did check it here yesterday, it was working. Just don't know why it decided it was going to do that this morning, but it did. Mind giving me back my fence? Not so easy moving a fence with this buck. I'm over here with the heifers. We did move them into that big hill during the silage, and we moved them then a few days later into this backfield here, just to eat around the headlands, which they've done. They've cleaned the whole area up, and that's all I want them to do, because I want this to grow again for a second, third cut. It's hard to believe the way the year's gone on. So I don't want them eating it. I have a paddock for them over here, which we're letting them into now. You just go back in there. Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. You don't like that? So we're crossing this paddock here. The heifers will not want to eat in here because calves have been in here, and bigger animals never like to come in after calves. Come on, come on, come on. That took us off, so it's okay. You can take them tapes away soon, the lower tape, because these calves are big enough now, they're not going to go through fences. Yeah, he'll be happy there. Give it, give it, give it, give it. How'd you get that around your neck? Now you've got it around your neck. Come here. All right, so this is our new member to the family. He is a burst of energy at the moment. He's only a pup. And he just wants to quiz every single thing he sees. It's a piece of plastic. It's only a piece of plastic. This is Cooper. He has himself worn out here by running around. So those of you that are watching the channel for a while now remember that we lost our beloved Hudson. One of the hardest things about owning a dogs or any pets is the short lifespan that they have. And it always makes it hard when you lose one to get another because of that very reason. At the same time, you can't beat the bit of company that, for me, dogs brings me. And especially when you're out in fields and things by yourself. But he is a very, very close resemblance of Hudson. I wasn't looking for another dog at the time that this bike popped up in front of me, but it just happened to come up as nearly a coincidence, or nearly was meant to be. So Hudson came 3 miles outside of Omagh. That's where he originated from. This guy came about 5-6 miles outside of Omagh. Not the same people, no way connected at all. It just was a bit of a coincidence. The two areas were relatively within a 10-mile radius of other, and again was something that was a bit odd. He's been here with us now for a good few weeks at this stage. He has grown an awful lot. He wasn't that big when he came here. He was a little tiny thing. He's away with a lump of dung in his mouth there now. Bailey didn't take to him. Bailey is a rough collie, and rough collies, she's our third rough collie at this stage, and they don't take well to new dogs coming around the place, or new people either. We had a watcher that she wouldn't take the head clean off him because she had the teeth stripped. That was the first greeting that she gave him. Now, thankfully, after about a week or so, the bond started to be created, and they're out in the garden playing together now. We can't let them sleep in the same house because we did it once back about 2 weeks ago and had to get up in the middle of the night because Bailey, whatever he did to her, she was going to eat him alive. So we're keeping them separate at night for now until he gets a bit bigger and she'll not be fit to bully him around as much. He's going to grow up hopefully on the channel and get up to all the mischief that he shouldn't be up to, which he's at the minute. So now that we've got our second cut done, the slurry and all's done, we hopefully get a nice third cut of that. But the bulk of that work is over, and that allows me to get back to other projects which I enjoy doing, which is the cottage, the 50B, because we have to put new tyres on it, and we have to replace the 2 rams on the back actor. We also have to replace that big oil pipe that goes from the front engine right in underneath to the filter for the hydraulics, and we have to wire the thing from top to bottom. So there'll be 2 videos in quick concession happening very soon now on that. I'm already working on it. We have a wee job to do in the cottage. I have 2 building projects that I want to soon start coming into the autumn time. So I'm hoping that we might be able to get a start done on that. There's a lot of concrete and work to be done. There's a lot of concrete posts to be put in. There's a lot of work to be done. Get to this time of year where you're coming into August, September, October. They're the 3 months where I'm able to get a lot of that sort of projects done. I'm not able to work on them before or after that because I'm always just too busy. So we'll leave you there. We'll talk to you soon. And I want to see, will this boy get into this yoke on his own? Come on. Oh, good boy. Come on. Jump up there. Come on. Jump up there. Go on. Jump. There you go. That's the job.